All right. So this was actually where we stopped. In our last class, we were able to create a navigation bar with 5 different menus. Now, don't forget, I told us the essence of the whole of this section of a website, which helps us to provide navigation links to every user that will visit this website in order for them to access different contents around or within the website. So, but I know we have not completed it actually because the plan is that it's going to be a responsive navigation bar, which means that this is the laptop view. On laptop view, we are expected to see the logo and the list of all the menus, including the hamburger. On a mobile view, let's say, for example, I right click just to check how to view it on mobile. Let's say I right click and I select inspect. So on mobile view, if I toggle between one device and the other just to see, let's say, for example, we want to know how this website will be opened on iPhone for 12 Pro. So you can see the challenge here. On a mobile phone, I don't actually want them to be seeing all this menu directly. On a mobile phone, I want this menu to collapse into that hamburger. That is, on a mobile phone, what I expect them to see here are those what? 3 lines. Those 3 lines we created with the span tags. Then when they now click on, it before it will drop down these menus vertically. That is the plan. That is when we can actually say that the navigation bar is responsive. Exactly. Please, I need a response
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
if we are together. All right. Now, which means that we are not done with our CSS yet. So we just want to continue. I will try and complete the CSS and then we will now start designing the body before the footer because that is where we are going. This very first page, which is the landing page, I told us that every web developer takes time to build it to our users' satisfaction because it's just like, as they say, first impression matters. This, when they type your URL www dot, this is the very first page the browser is going to land them. That is why you have to make sure that it's user friendly so that it can offer them good experience, which is the UI US that you hear out there. So let's perfect this because if we leave it like this, it means that we build this website to the standard of laptop users. And I told us before now that statistics shows that out of 100% of people who uses or who exploit website, 90 or to 95% uses their smaller devices like phone to access our website or the website we design. So our priority should be the mobile users, not the laptop users. So you will not say because it's displaying well on laptop, just like the way we have it now, and then you stop. No, it means that your website is created for only 5%. 5% user of your website are the only people that will be excited, are going through your website, which means that your website will not drive traffic. In other words, it will not encourage people or large volume of or people to access it. So, which means that we have to quickly finish up the remaining CSS section. That is what it means. That is where we can actually complete this task. So going back to our CSS, we'll just go there and add responsiveness. That is what we are asking. These are the CSS code we have written so far. These are the CSS code. So we will just add responsiveness. So what is responsiveness if I have not mentioned it before? Now, responsiveness is what I just explained now at the front end. Responsiveness is the ability of your website, just like the way it's displaying on laptop now, is the ability of this website to be string, that is what, to reduce, to be compatible to every device screen size that is used to open it. For example, now when a phone opens it, will it disappear service and gallery and display only home about content? The user will start looking for this and this. Or is going to gradually compress it to that phone size and still maintain the display of those items in a user-friendly manner. That is what we mean by responsiveness. So when we say a website is responsive, what we are saying is that that website is can adapt to every device that is used to access it, irrespective of that device size. That is the meaning of website responsiveness. I hope that is clear. So I will use comments to explain what we are about to do. So at this point, we are adding responsiveness. Sorry, just a minute. So at this part, we are adding responsiveness to our website. Just a second. Okay, so like I was saying, at this point, we are adding responsiveness to our website. Responsiveness. Or let's say we want to make it responsive. So now, for you to manually make your website responsive, there is a function called media query in CSS, which we use in implementing this responsiveness we are talking about. In other words, which we use in making our website to display compatibly to or across different screen. So that is the function we are going to involve right now. Now, how do we program the function? Make sure you take note of the syntax. So you are going to start with add media. So it's an inbuilt function. You say at media, then you open a bracket like this. At media, that is, you are talking about the device. At media screen or at media, you are now specifying the maximum width, which means that you must have calculated the width of the device you are targeting. That when this website is open on it, it should display to certain size. That is, it should not, on a particular device resolution, it should not exceed certain size. So which means that is what we compel it to what to fit in, because you have like given the boundary that it must not exceed. That is what we are saying when we say at media maximum width. Then what is that width column? Then you specify it. On the average, mobile phone uses this resolution, which is 68 PS. So what we are saying is that on a device which falls under mobile phone or tablet, that the height or the maximum width is 768 pixels. That is the standard you are putting now, because laptop is from 1024 or 900. So when you bring it to this, you are targeting mobile devices and those tablets. So you will now open your CSS calling bracket after you have typed it. So this is the format to declare the media query. Now you need to declare this on a particular element, which means that you have to attach this function to every element you are targeting its responsiveness. Now, if you go back to our HTML structure, there is a container that is holding the menus that we want to collapse once it comes on a mobile phone. That is, once it comes on a mobile phone, we don't want them to be listed horizontally. We want them what? To be listed vertically. Even that vertical, it has to be regulated by the hamburger, those three lines. Not that as soon as the user open it on their phone, they will start seeing home about us. They have to take steps to click on that three line, which is called the hamburger, before they can see a vertical drop down of those menu. So which means that you are to target this that is directly holding the menus that you want to control with that media. So that is one thing you must understand, that the media query must be declared on one of the elements. Most time is declared on the container element, an element that is holding two or more elements. So now you now understand when I will say .nav bar menu. That means I'm talking to that container that is holding the link. .navbar menu. Then you will now, just like you are creating it inside the media query. So it carries its own CSS block or code or declaration block. Take note of the syntax. This, whatever we are writing now, we are writing it inside this. Remember, this is where it starts. This is where it ends. So all these elements that you are targeting, their responsiveness, they are directly declared inside the media query. In other words, every element you select here will be controlled by the media query. Now, what do you want? You will now say that display, I will say what? None, display none. Remember the display we talk about is a position property where we put the other time block and flex. So we don't want, because the navbar itself in the actual styling, it has display flex. So when it comes on this particular device with this size, it should not display flex. That is what you just talked now, because of the way you want it to appear. So that is all for that element. But that element alone, targeting that element alone, will not implement responsiveness for all. So there are other couple of elements that you need to target, but you are still inside the media query. You just step out the first CSS selector and its declaration block and target another element. Which element are we targeting? We are targeting this very one. We are targeting this one because this one is involved. Is the one the users will click that will trigger what? This one you have also spoken to. So we have to target it also, but we are also targeting it inside the media query. Please take note of the structure. So the CSS selector for that is navbar, because we have typed them before. That is why they are showing up. So you just click navbar, and then we will say this, and then we'll say display. Since we have stopped display on this one should display block. So that is the one that will bring them. That's the reason why you stop the display, because you want them to be displayed with this. Two of them cannot implement the display effect at the same time. Now, we still want, when this particular selector display them vertically, we want some gap in between them so that they will not merge within or to each other. So that is why we will now call another combinators. Why did I say combinator? Because we are talking to two different elements at the same time. So we are talking to the toggle. We are talking to the toggle. Then I will space and add plus. This is where you join two elements together. That is what you are talking to both of them at the same time. Then we're also talking to .navbar menu. So here we are talking to both of them. You know, we have spoken to them individually, but here we want to talk to them because of the item inside. Before I'll display this, and then the next thing I will say display to this. Display to this should be block, because they are all wrapped in a container. The position is another CSS property which has relatively 4 values that can be assigned. So when we say position property, it means that these are properties we use in regulating the positioning of element, particularly when they are layout. How do I put it? When you nest element inside element. So we have absolute, we have relative, we have fixed, and then we have static. So this 4 value can be assigned to this. So I believe there will be another section where I will explain extensively the difference between selecting absolute as my position value, or fixed, or relative, or static. By default, every element you create is already positioned static. The fixed is when it sticks to one place. Maybe no matter what happened on the page, people scroll item. There is an element like an advert that will be permanent in one particular place. That is where you use what? Fixed. Absolute means that is the movement of this depend on the parent element. And any space it gives, another element cannot take it. While relative means what? The movement of the element depends on the element is directly related to. So which means that if I want to move a p tag in a div, the div itself will determine the flexibility of that p tag inside it. So that is what we mean by position. But based on what we want absolute in this case. Now, we want some space at the top, because as they are dropping vertically, we want space. I want home to be distant from about us. That is the top. Now, anytime you use the position property, there are regulators. In other words, that property, once it is being used, position, absolute, display, relative, display, fixed, display, static. Then to control the elements, you now use another value, about 4 of them: top, left, right, and bottom. So an element can be positioned absolute, yes. Now, how do you want it to be positioned inside that parent element that is positioned to as absolute? That is what we are regulating with top. So I will say top, I could just say 100%. Top, 100%. Then left, all these top, left, they are still, anytime you see a programmer using position, you will see them using what? Top, left, bottom, right to regulate the positioning. So here I will say left 0. I don't want any space there. So I don't want to use right. I don't want to use bottom based on the display I want. Then once they drop down, I want them to have different background. That is, once they click on that hamburger, those 3 lines, and they come out, I want a different background color, or a background color that could still rhyme with the one we have used, since we are color conscious. Then padding, I've explained the concept of padding in our next class. So I want padding in all the side. That is the reason why I'm not saying padding left, padding right. Instead, I'm simply saying padding, which means that it's going to affect what? The whole side. And I want it to be 1 rem, which is a unit, just like pixel, like I told us the other time. Then the width of this element within that space, within this width, that's what they should use the whole space. When you say what? 100%. The width should be 100%. Okay, so now, if we go to the front end now and check whether we have started getting the responsiveness. So let's just minimize here and see what we have. Let's just minimize this. Let's just minimize it. So you see, if I click here, what we are getting, you can see that it's working, because the last time that we minimize, when we have not added this, all this were still listed here, and we are still seeing this. But now we have already collapsed them, but we have not triggered the action, the clickable action that when they click, they will drop out. They are there. All those color, the background, the padding that we created, they are there pending when we will finally give an action to this before we start seeing them. So that is what you can see. This is the mobile display. So if you keep increasing it now, once it exceeds that 768 is this width. So if you start increasing it gradually, let me put it here. If you start increasing it gradually, once it exceeds that 768 range, you will see that what? You will start seeing the link. Can you see it? So as I'm going now, I'm still within that 768. That is why I'm not seeing the link. Once I am out of that range, you start seeing them. That means that you have not defined responsiveness for this width. Your responsiveness is only within that 768. Because I want somebody to reply if we are getting it.
I'm getting
Oh,
it.
okay, Flourish, are you still here?
Yes, sir.
All right, so that is the idea. Now you can see what we are struggling with manually now is for only one or only devices that are within the range of that 768. Now, if by tomorrow this website is open on a device that is of this length, there is no responsiveness. If there is also a device that is of this length, there is no responsiveness. So that is why at the end of the day, I am going to train us on a platform called Bootstrap. That Bootstrap, it saves you from this manual responsiveness that you are calculating on each of the elements. So once you are building with Bootstrap have already programmed all the devices in the world responsiveness, the way this website will respond,
when it's on this, when it's on every device. But we have to know it manually so that when you get to that framework, Bootstrap, you will know what has been done on your behalf. That's the reason why when you are learning manual way of building website, we take our time to teach you how Bootstrap is doing it. That is what we are learning right now. Now, because at the moment, once it gets to the responsiveness range and you click here, you are not seeing the menu. It means that anybody that will use a device, just a minute. So it means that anybody that will use a device that is of that range, which is 768, will not see those links. They will be looking for where is home, where is about us, and you must not leave them stranded. So let's quickly go back to our CSS and see how we can implement that. So we are still writing inside the media query. So this time around, we are calling different selector dot navbar. We are calling navbar toggle, then plus, just like the way we did it now, plus dot navbar menu. Then we will now space and say li, because the reason why those things are not dropping, because we have not spoken to the li that are directly enveloping or grouping the anchor tag that we are expecting to drop out when they click on the hamburger. So now when we call it like this, it means that now we are talking to the sub-content inside this. So what we want there, we want some margin. We are still going to call more. We want margin at the bottom. When the list drop, we want space at the bottom. Remember, I have explained the concept of margin. So I just want 10 PS space of that. Now, we are going to come out from this. So these are the only selector or elements you are referencing inside the media query. Now we are stepping out from the media query. That is, we are no longer collecting or selecting any element inside it. So let me use comments so that we differentiate. So at this point here, we want to what? Toggle. At this point here, we want to toggle menu on clicking. We want to toggle menu on clicking. So this, the code I'm about to write now is the code that we make them to be dropping out when we click, so that we can see all this margin and all this positioning that we have programmed. So here, what are we selecting? To implement this, we will simply select the navbar toggle, selecting that navbar toggle. Then we are going to use our hover effects. That is what, when they checked it. So remember, we bring into this format, they will say check. You say checked. So it's an attribute, just like the way we used to have a hover. So, but before that, this should be, let's select all the elements that are involved. I think I'm correct there. Now, we will now put plus, because this is also combination. We are combining two or more selectors at once. So here we are adding this to menu. Then before we declare our CSS declaration block. So what we want to put here is just display and then we will just simply say what? Block. That is all. That is what? Once the user, this is what is adding effect. Once they click on it, just like they are checking it, once they click, then it should display this in block. That is vertical. So let's go to the front end now and check. So if I click here now, I'm expected to start seeing the action. So let's say if, now when you do something like this and you see that it is not working, what we are going to do is to check your CSS combinators, to check whether they are well aligned. So let me debug it. See. Yeah. Sometimes giving space somewhere can be an issue where you are not supposed to give space. Okay, so for me, let me try and check the whole code again. Can you see my screen?
Sir, you are not recording. Yes.
Can you see my screen now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so like I was saying, the way it's displaying, if we want to achieve it with CSS and HTML, is not professional. For example, now this is the one I was able to debug that led to the addition of this. If you check the first HTML code where we have a logo, where we have a logo, before, if you check your own, we don't have this particular section. I just added it just for us to have an action that we output the item. Because what we are looking at, the challenge we are facing here now, like I said, if we open it on the browser, is that input that I added that is making this to be on. So I'm trying to see how I can regulate it with the input, because that is only what is obtainable, but it's not professional. The professional way, if we have done JavaScript, is that once we click here, we will now use JavaScript to add the clickable action that will just make it easy for us, not trying to, use an input checkbox to display it. Now, it's not professional, because if you look at this one where I confirm that input method, if I run this code now, you will see that if you click here now, it will drop the link here. You can see it. So it means that if by the time we add content here now, we add content here, somebody might click here, not knowing that the item are outputting, but they are outputting at the bottom. That is why I said I will leave this aspect of making it to be clickable to when we get to JavaScript. Though it's dropping like this now with the code I added. I just make some changes. But I expect it as we click here now, the way we must have seen it in website. As we click here, all this should be under here, not going down. I don't know if you are getting what I'm explaining. Hello, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Did you understand
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm saying? So that's the reason why I don't want
Because not everybody
that we know.
will know that the thing is down.
Yes, exactly. And we are having this issue because we are trying to use just HTML and CSS to do what JavaScript can easily do. So that's why I said this one that I'm able to achieve with the CSS is not professional, because users may not know that the item they are looking for are displaying at the bottom. So we will leave this aspect of the response, the action. So what we have achieved so far now in that our own, the first one that I designed, which is this one. So if I remove this input here now, if I remove this and then go to our CSS, because I try adding this. So this is what I added here. So if I take this back to the way it was, I think we got to this place. Let me see. Just want to go back to the way we did our own before. Okay. So if I go to the front end and check, so we are going to leave it like this. So what we have achieved so far is that the navigation bar is responsive. The only thing is that once we get to JavaScript, we will now look for function to make this to come up. In other words, when they click on this, it will now show up. But for now, let's leave it like this. So we'll leave the action that will bring this down to JavaScript, because that is actually a rule of JavaScript, not what you try to do with CSS. But at least we have used CSS to achieve the responsiveness. So this is responsive to mobile device, only that we are leaving the action on a mobile device. When they click, they are not going to see the link for now, but on laptop device, they will be able to see their link, or their menu rather. So any question, because I want us to look at this. So if there's code you need to extract, or you go through the video. Any question?
Sorry, no, my network went off,
Oh,
so
I noticed.
I
Okay,
didn't catch up from where you continue.
okay. What I did, I was trying to debug it
The other time, trying to know why, when we shrink it to mobile size, yes, the items are collapsing inside the hamburger, but when we click on it, we are not seeing them coming out. So I discovered that what we are trying to do, this action is supposed to be done in JavaScript, but if we try to use CSS to achieve it, we will get it, but it will not be professional. That is what I did here. I created another file just to debug it. And in this file, you can see the structure here. That first one does not have this. So I added this input just to use it to trigger the link to drop down. And then in the CSS here I use internal CSS. Then I now use, you can see the way I selected it now, because then I already added the checkbox. That is the reason why I'm able to use the checkbox together with this. Now, if you run this code now, we discover that it is working perfectly here. Just I don't want to put logo first because I was trying to debug. If you click here now, you will see them here. Are you with me, More Purity?
Yes, sir.
Good. Now, what we are trying to achieve there now is that just
Yes, sir.
like what happened now, we want the user in that first one. When the user click here, which those things are not coming out, they should see this. But even this one that I tried to achieve with CSS, I discovered that, yes, if we click without JavaScript, because that's how we added that input checkbox. So that, in other words, this is what is regulating them to come out. And the way it's positioning them is not professional. Why? Because by the time we have added content here, this content will shift this particular display down. So somebody might be clicking here and then waiting to see the item here. And then just to find out that they are displaying at the bottom that is not professional. So we are suspending this drop down section to JavaScript. That is what I'm saying. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
Because in JavaScript, it's very simple
Thanks, sir.
it's very simple to achieve. In JavaScript, once you click here, you will see all those about will drop out like this without anybody looking for them to drop out. You see a box that will come out like this. So that particular aspect is actually for JavaScript, but because I'm going to be implementing Bootstrap, that's the reason why I'm trying to show us the manual way of doing it, so that when Bootstrap does it for you, you will know what really plays out at the background. So we are stopping here. By Wednesday, those that have not started working on their own at all, they should try and get to this. Let me open it. So this is where you should get to for me before next tomorrow. If you shrink like this, I want to see that once you come to a mobile view, I don't want to be seeing the link, the menus, just like the way it's reacting now. Are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Good. So make sure that you update your own. For those of us that have done it before, but it was not responsive, so you update everything we have added today to your own, such that by Wednesday, what I'm doing now is what you would do. Once you get to mobile view, I want to see that all the menus will have been folded inside what? The hamburger. And then once you stretch it out, I want to see all the menu listed out.
Hamburger.
Yes, horizontally. So that is what you should update, which means that that Wednesday, I thought we are going to finish this easily. That Wednesday, I'm going to start designing the body. So I'm going straight to the body. We'll start adding content because this is just the menu at the top. So we'll start learning how to place our content inside. If we are fast, we can also look at footer. Because the way you design your website is that you finish the first page first, which is the home page. That is, if they click here, what they will see, both the header, the main body, and the footer. Once you have perfected it, then you can now start creating what they will see when they click on About Us, followed by what they will see when they click on Contact, followed by what they will see when they click on Service, followed by what they will see when they click on Gallery. So we are going to go that way. So by Wednesday, by the grace of God, I will try and complete the design of the home page, both the body and the footer. So once we are done with that, then the following class, we will now start creating content for each of these pages. So once we have been able to create content for each of them, it becomes a complete website on the average. Then we will now take another project. We will now start another project. We will look at another type of navigation bar. The one that we have a drop down, that is the one we'll be looking at. The one that we have something like more. Maybe when you have more like this. Because like I told us the other time, you must not overcrowd this. You shouldn't have at least 5 or 4, you shouldn't have more than 4 to 5 list of menu. Every other one should be in more. So that more, we are going to create a drop down like this. So that when they click, it will not list out what other menu. That is another type of navigation bar. But this one that we have designed is the basic that you must learn first. So the next navigation bar we are going to design after we have completed this project is the one that will give us drop down. Maybe when they click on your service, they will see different list of services you offer. Exactly.
Yes, sir.
All right. So we will stop here. So like I said, let's go and watch the video and apply all the code we updated in our CSS. Remember that we did not update any code in our let me delete this back to the way it was because I trying to debug the other time so that will not confuse you. Okay. Let me still find out if everything is still intact. There's a place where I edited something also here. Let me check. Okay, so I added this so that will not confuse you. Okay, so okay. All right, so you remember that if you have done it before, you must have written some of the CSS. So we started the updates from responsiveness. We have written all this before in our last class, so we started from here. So these are for those of us that have done it before, like Purity that showed us the one she did. So what you will add to your own now, Purity, just from here, you are not touching the HTML element or the file. You just this place you add to your own, and that will give you this responsiveness. Then for Flourish and the rest, you have to watch the other video to get here before you continue. Hope that is clear so that we can draw the curtain. Flourish, are you here?
Yes, sir.
All right. Flourish, did you get what I just explained?
Yes, sir. I'll go through the video because the thing is just like I'm off because of I did not follow last class.
So you start by watching the first class video. You understand? You know you were not there completely.
Yes, sir.
I know you show your face once and you appear again. So please watch that last class video. When you finish watching that one, then you start watching this one. I want to make sure that please, it's compulsory to you. You must do it before you join that Wednesday class, please, your own case, so that you will not lose more, please. Did you hear me?
Okay, sir.
I don't want you to
Yes, sir.
when that will start using Google to find you. So make sure that you get here before the next class. Yeah, no get body to start using Google
Okay,
to
sir.
find Flourish. All right.
Okay, sir.
Have a nice week, a nice day ahead. See you on Wednesday. Bye for now.
You too, sir.
Mm.
Children.